We may be a little tired, but we got the heart. Our heart is not tired.
I'm looking at it. So 20-year professional career as a published playwright, produced screenwriter, and now a basketball columnist. That's a pretty impressive resume. So obviously, we're a basketball podcast, so kind of give us a lead into how you jump from, what you had going on as an actor and a playwright into jumping into the NBA. Have you just always been an NBA fan, or where did that come from?
Yeah, I was always a fan. Like, I was never, like when I was a kid, I kind of wanted to be a sports writer, but it was really a sort of like vague dream. Like I would wake up every morning and read the sports section for half an hour before I ate breakfast, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But then, I went to theater school. I became an actor and a writer and a director and all these things. And I've had a lot of success, which is cool. But, for me, like, sports was always kind of my first love. Like, even before, like, acting. And, like, I've been doing plays since I was 6 years old,
Yeah.
But it's not like I didn't, like, wake up every morning and, I don't know, like, read Shakespeare,
Right. Yeah, the Shakespeare section
it's
in the
always
newspaper.
Special.
He's out shooting hoops.
Right.
Where art thou, young plebeian? Yeah. So look, I love what I do, but also, I don't know. A few years ago, I had an opportunity to. It was very random. Like, I was just following, like, a fantasy writer on Twitter, and he happened to be running this website called Fake Teams. Mm-hmm. And then one day, randomly, a tweet popped up as like, "Oh, we're hiring a fantasy basketball writer," and I'm a pretty hardcore fantasy guy, and basketball's my favorite sport. So I was like, well, why don't I just hit him up? And then I got the job, and then within about, I want to say 2 weeks, Yahoo Sports started republishing my articles.
Wow, nice.
And then 2 months later, I got invited into the Yahoo Friends and Family League, like the Experts League, by Andy Behrens, and I finished second place. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
We're diehard fantasy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, especially
Yeah, it was
I do all
I mean,
sports.
you just, like, DM me. Oh, yeah, same. Yeah, and I've won multiple championships. I mean, there's so many, like, whatever. Like, I'm in 23 fantasy basketball leagues right now.
Whoa.
Wow. Dang. Well, you're talking to the two, like, I mean, we've had it for our league's been for 7 years.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I've won 4. Corey's won 2.
So
and one other guy's won once.
Yeah.
So basically, we've been
Very
domination. Yeah, and we're definitely diehard. We even at work yesterday, I joke with these guys. I get off work and I got like 545 messages of just pure, trash talk from our fantasy league and stuff like that. So it's a super competitive league.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're talking about in the future doing, a couple fantasy podcasts and stuff. So, I mean, from your perspective, it'd be kind of cool to maybe have you on again and chat fantasy basketball with you if you're in that many leaves.
Right.
Yeah, any time. I mean, it's funny. Before I had it where I was basically paid to play fantasy, it was just out of interest. I just really loved it. I played in 100 fantasy leagues at the same time.
Sure.
All the sports combined. Because my goal, and it worked, was I wanted to play in every possible format that existed for fantasy so that I could understand all the different strategies and because I just wanted to understand it in a really intense way.
Wow, okay.
And I did. Yeah. And this was before, like, now Yahoo makes it easy. You push that one button, start lineups for the week.
Yeah.
I was like, there was none of that. Like, I had to set each lineup individually every single day.
Damn,
sure, yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. You've played all the different fantasy styles. What's your favorite? Because we've thought about changing our scoring style so many different times and adding something. What do you think is the best way to go?
Okay, well, I own my preference is always dynasty leagues.
Yes, dynasty is the best. I'm in a dynasty
because you
football
put
league.
it all. Yeah, it's so important. Just because, like, for me, I guess it's kind of like I put a lot of time into my team. So when I kill you, I want to kill you every year over and over.
Oh, dude, I love it. I agree. Or like when you discover that like prospect that no one knows about, but then the next year they all want to draft him. It's like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah.
So the reason I tend to dominate all my dynasty leagues is that I know the prospects in every sport, like at a very high level. So, like, I took Aaron Judge 3 years before he played in the majors.
Oh,
no, that's smart.
Nobody knew who he was. Even like all the lists, he wasn't even really on the list. But I just know the prospects, and I looked at his numbers, and I was like, this guy's going to be a beast, man. I looked at the age, I looked at the numbers, and I picked him up in 6 leagues.
Wow.
Yeah.
Smart.
That's crazy,
What a
man.
steal. I love that.
Basically, kind of going off of fantasy is kind of what we see, what you're doing now with this EcoSports thing you've created. Is that kind of what led you into your passion for jumping into that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a way, I mean, it's what came first, the chicken or the egg. I mean, I went to U of T, University of Toronto, which is one of the best universities in Canada, for economics before I transferred to theater. So, like, I always had I was, sort of a math prodigy. You know what I mean? Like, in grade 12, I got like 98%.
Wow.
And I didn't even try that hard, to be honest. So I don't know what.
A lot of people,
my mind just works that way.
And a lot of people wouldn't take these economic stats into account at all. I mean, there's already so many statistics involved and everything that you're looking at, but you combine that with PER or something, right? I mean, just with general efficiency.
Yeah.
Look at their overall value.
You can combine it with them. It's funny, and this will come back to this point. You asked me about fantasy league and what my favorite format is. My favorite format is actually dynasty leagues, but it's salary cap leagues.
Okay.
Because I would just destroy people on salary cap to the point where it wasn't even fair, where I just stopped playing them because it's a lot of work and I just win so easily. I was like, I'm not going to do that.
Well, it seems like you should be an actual
you,
GM. It seems like some front offices could
Yeah,
use
well,
that.
look, I would love it, but so okay. The reason I bring that up is not to maybe to brag a little bit,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's not really that. It's that actually. So my analysis of contemporary basketball and my creation of I call them EcoStats.
Yeah.
Is the way that I used to dominate my leagues in the salary cap leagues in fantasy when I first started playing. It was all intuitive, and what I realized is that regardless of what a player would produce, and I mean you guys are fantasy guys, so like it doesn't matter if it's Quinn Cook who's got top 20 value for 6 weeks like he did last year, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Or if it's Steph Curry or John Wall or whatever, like it doesn't matter what the name is. It matters who the guy is getting you the 24 points and the 7 assists and the 5 rebounds and the 2 steals or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You don't win leagues by having the most famous guys on your team. You actually win leagues by getting the people nobody knows about that are putting up crazy numbers that put you over the top, right?
Yes, that's very true.
But what I would notice in fantasy leagues, and I was very surprised that people would do this, is that people would always, because you have in the salary cap league, it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of like the real world, where people they have contract terms, so 2 years, 5 years, whatever, depending on the format.
Yeah.
And there'd be a price. Right? So maybe it's $1 for this guy, or $10 for this guy, or $4. And inevitably, in every single league, people would pay such a premium for star name talent, and they would lose because of that.
Yeah,
right.
Because so let's say you get $100 for your whole team, you get like 14 guys or something, and people would blow all the dough, and they would. I mean, this is back in the days when Carmelo Anthony actually mattered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people would lock up Melo 5 years, and maybe the max was like $15 a year, and everybody would lock him up. And I realized the way to win is to get rid of all those guys, and then have all the money left over for all these people that you don't know who the hell they are. They come out of nowhere. You pay them like nothing, and then I would have so many of those guys people never heard of, but then I'd have all this money left over to do all this other stuff, and I would just win all the time by doing that. It's a very simple strategy.
Well, it's like,
pretty good.
I mean, relating to real life, we were talking about that last week with underpaid players, people that are still on their rookie contracts and stuff. And if you can find anything that's even average or above that's on that cheap of a contract, you just have such a huge advantage filling out the rest of your roster in real life, too. Just like, I mean, the Raptors, they have some good contracts on there, right?
Yeah, and so this is my angle, right? This is my stat EcoStats, right? So what I did was I took a look at Kawhi Leonard and Pascal Siakam. I've done it for all the Raptors. I could do it for everyone, other sports, but I'm a Raptors beat writer for my site, so that's my entry point. And what's really interesting is that Kawhi Leonard right now, he is number 4 in the NBA in player efficiency rating. Mm-hmm. So he's number 4. It's like 27.3 or something like that. And Pascal Siakam is he's about 18, which makes him kind of not a star player, but
still pretty
above
nice.
average, but good, right?
Yeah, pretty good player.
It's above average.
Kawhi is quite a bit better efficiency-wise, stat-wise, if you just look at PER, right?
Yeah.
But the difference in price is that Kawhi Leonard makes $22 million a year, and Pascal Siakam makes $1.5 million a year.
Yep.
Okay? So then what I did was so what I need to do is I need to make it fair because, okay, Kawhi's a lot more, but he also produces a lot more. So if they produce at the same rate, what's the difference in price? Mm-hmm. So it's a very basic calculation. I'm basically just dividing their salary by So I equalize their stats. So for the exact same productivity, Kawhi Leonard costs 10 times the price of Pascal Siakam.
Jeez. Wow.
Huh.
That's incredible.
In real life. My EcoStats are not for fantasy. It's real life.
So
you have to understand.
So basically, you're looking at it almost from a Moneyball approach, as the Oakland A's did.
That's exactly what I'm doing. But it's next level. So what I've done with these EcoStats, very basic, but essentially what I do is I price out the cost of stats for every single player in every single sport.
Yeah.
Right?
How much their stats cost to get them.
Exactly. Because what you're doing, if you break it down that way, you're paying for stats, but you're paying different prices depending on the guy, which is stupid because it doesn't matter who does it. It's the same.
You still
stat.
need those points and rebounds, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And it works for everything. So we look at the NFL. So tomorrow we got Tom Brady, we got Jared Goff, and their QB rating was QB rating is similar to PER. It's a different calculation, but basically it's an attempt to take a player's statistical profile and put it into one number.
Yeah.
So, Brady's, I think his QB rating is like 96.8 and Goff is 98.7. So Goff's a little bit ahead, but it's very, very close, right?
Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady makes $20 million a year and Jared Goff makes $7 million a year. So when you equalize their QB rating, Jared Goff just goes a little bit higher. So he literally costs 3 times less than Tom Brady for the exact same production. And Tom Brady is already taking a pay cut.
Right.
True, yeah.
Already taking a pay cut. So you have some quarterbacks who are making $35-40 million. I think Aaron Rodgers, is right up there.
Yeah, he's the highest paid player
for the
in the NFL.
exact same production. So you tell me, and then it's a salary cap era, right? So it's you're eating up a significant percentage of your salary cap. So now you can't spend that money other places, right?
Right.
And it puts you at a significant disadvantage. And this is the real world. This is not fantasy. And for me, it's so crazy that the way people would act in my salary cap leagues in fantasy is the same way people react in real life.
Yeah, no, we completely agree. That's exactly what we talked about last week with some overpaid and underpaid. And in all honesty, Kyle Lowry is one of the guys that jumped on our overpaid. Is that, with your EcoStats, do you agree on that?
Contract on the team. Yeah, he's the worst on the team.
Yeah, we figured that.
Especially this season, yeah. Oh, man.
So what I do with my stats is I actually put a price on them. So for every point for PER, so I think Kyle Lowry, I think he's $1.8 million. Wow. So even on the team, his backup price, I believe, is $600,000. So in terms of and this isn't contract, this is you're paying for the stats for the PER points, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So even his own backup for the exact same production is 1/3 the price of Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez, those points
incredible.
cost one Pascal Siakam contract year. $1.8 million or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's
Kyle Lowry makes $31 million a year. That's like 25 Pascal Siakams.
Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy when you break it down like that. So if you're the GM, obviously, Kawhi Leonard, all the talks is he just a 1-year rental? With your EcoStats, are you feeling like you're hoping Toronto signs him to a max deal? Or do you believe that they could get more bang for their buck?
Yeah, of course we can, because here's the thing. I mean, we beat Golden State this year without Kawhi. We beat the Clippers without Kawhi. And it's so funny, like, people, they don't look at it the right way. So everybody was saying, oh, my God, they beat Golden State. They beat the Clippers without Kawhi. Imagine with Kawhi. And I'm like, oh, you don't understand how basketball works.
Right.
You don't just, like, add names and then all of a sudden, no, they'll win by 30. No, they'll win by 40. No. If you need a team. Otherwise, an Anthony Davis-led team would be the best team in the NBA because he leads the NBA in PER.
Right.
So how come his team is 6 games under 500?
Yeah, no, that's
right? It's like people make this mistake. They make this mistake between like correlation and causation, right? So it's like you think because you have this like player and you can sort of analyze that he's the best player in the league by a number of metrics, that automatically means now you're going to be better. And it's like, but that's not true. And there's so much evidence where you can show that a player is good, and yet it does not translate to win.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What about someone like a James Harden though, who's got the money and basically his PER is leading to their wins? How do you factor that?
Do you want to hear my thesis? My thesis is very, very provocative, and to the point where, like, if I was like famous or something, people would probably call me an idiot and how dare you. I believe the entire NBA, which is a superstar league, right? The whole, that's just what they do. Oh, you need LeBron and you need D-Wade and you need Chris Bosh, and that's how you win. I believe it's the opposite that people don't understand. It's not acquiring the superstars that gets the wins and the championship, right? In fact, it's everything that the team does despite having to play the superstars that define whether or not the team wins. So here's why. The Lakers, yes, but it's actually economic. It's very, very basic and simple, but you have to wrap your head around it. The reason that the Lakers, and now they're good and LeBron's on the team, and people go, oh, LeBron. But again, we make the mistake about correlation and causation, okay? It's not because of LeBron James. It's because, in a way, it is, but not in the way people think, right? The reason that the Lakers become good is that guys like Rondo, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, Tyson Chandler are willing to take a significant pay cut to come to the team to play with LeBron James.
Oh,
right?
I see.
So, look, if you look at it that way, it's like, because they're not going to go there without LeBron. That part is true, but it's actually the economic strategy where you have all these players who are willing to undercut their value. And I could do the EcoStat calculation to be like what their price in the market actually should be based on their levels of production.
Yeah.
Well, it's just
they're
like
undercutting their own salaries.
Like last week, these guys were talking about, the Miami, they have the biggest payroll in the NBA. What's that done for them this season? I'm sure there's probably a correlation, actually. Yeah, a bunch of these big, bloated salaries that they've got then, or just, the biggest payrolls in general, they hardly ever win. See, it's not baseball.
And it's easy to calculate. Like if I had a team and a bunch of I could do it with a calculator in my hand. It's very easy. If you equalize people's stats, look at their relative production, look at their relative contracts. You could do a couple things, right? You could analyze how much they're paying per player for the same stats, and you could also analyze how much they should be paying.
Right.
And you're going to find that the biggest deals are going to be finding the JaVale McGee's, finding the Lance Stephensons, finding the Rondos, finding the guys, who maybe their stats should be costing, $800,000 a pop, and they're selling them for $5,000.
So basically, would you say that there are no massive name, big max contract guys that are actually with your EcoStats worth their value? Is there anybody that's even close? Say, like
Definitely
a Kevin.
not. No, definitely.
No.
Definitely not. Not from the, like, my EcoStat perspective. Obviously, in the real world, like, you want, like, those people, and they affect the other people, and there's other factors that come into the. But the reality is, if you could get an entire team of Pascal Siakam, like, they would destroy every team in the league. Because you don't have any team that can afford that many players of that quality for that price.
Right.
But if you could, they would beat everybody. You're talking about a team in the NBA that costs 30% of every other team in the league, and it has, like, depth from 1 to 15. Now, look, the reality is, numbers in the real world are not the same thing. You can't just get 15 Pascal Siakam.
Right.
But it's like that's the attitude that if you did, that is way more effective.
That's
and
the
again,
ideal.
you got Anthony Davis making all his money, but if you had all those guys at that price, like, they would dominate, and they would have all this money left over so that they could have 15 other Pascal Siakams in the G League ready to come up.
Right. Well,
and still have like 40% of the budget available.
Well, speaking of team full of 15 Pascal Siakams, I know I read earlier that you were saying the Raptors do need to make a trade, though. I don't know how much they've been involved in stuff. What do you think's going to happen, or what do you think should happen? What are they targeting?
I mean, one never knows. Obviously, like, I'm not, like, part of the team or anything. But I mean, we need another scorer. We need, like, the problem is that we don't have too many trade chips. So I believe the whole reason that we're not going to win a championship or really compete, I think we're going out in the second round. It's Kyle Lowry. We're paying this guy $31 million. Okay. Our cap is $140 million. So he's about 25 to 30% of the entire team, just by himself. Okay, this is a guy who's shooting about 41% from the field. Okay, he's leading the NBA in assists. He's only scoring like something like 11 points a game.
Yeah,
he's good. He's good defensively, but I'm sorry, he's a 41% shooter who scores 11 points a game. Well, you can justify paying him 25 to 30% of your entire salary because he's able to pass to other people.
Do you think there's a team out there that you'd be able to dump him on or get something him involved in a trade at all? I haven't really heard any rumors about.
I don't know. Now that the Knicks have seemed to hire some good accountants, like, maybe not. I mean, the Knicks,
right?
Well, they're out of the question now.
Yeah, they used to be the team where if you had a bad contract, you just give them a name, waste their money, and then right. They were like the garbage dump for, like, NBA financial mismanagement.
Well, let me ask you this: what would your stats say to the trade that was made recently? Would it be in favor of the Knicks or the Dallas Mavericks? I'm curious. I would think the Knicks.
Oh, the Knicks. The Knicks 100%.
Yes.
But
exactly.
again, it's theoretical, right? We're dealing, really, it's just math, right? But you're dealing with a phenomenon where, with what the Knicks did, and remember, Porzingis, presumably he's going to sign this extension, you know what I mean, all this stuff, play with Doncic. He's going to go up to $30 million a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
And he's like and he's an inefficient volume scorer. This is a guy who's shooting, like 43%?
43%. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
High injury risk as well. 7'3".
High injury risk. $30 million, which under Pascal Siakam's current contract. And again, it's not. Again, it's imperfect, but it shows you the way to think about it, right?
Oh yeah.
No,
that's
I agree.
About what 22 Pascal Siakam.
Right.
Yeah.
I think you should change it from EcoStats. It'll be the Siakam measure. You can measure him against Pascal Siakam. He's a good example.
So do you have a list?
I haven't the whole league.
Do you have a list of, like, the top 10 players that you would say by EcoStats? You keep mentioning Siakam. Is there some other dudes that might surprise our listeners that are actually really valuable?
Look, at this point, I've only done the Raptors. I am thinking about writing book about it, so I have to figure out exactly what my thesis is. But, like, for example, there's a guy named Chris Boucher on the Raptors.
Okay.
And he now, again, it's imperfect math, but it's the way to look at it. Like, this guy's PER is 27. That's just under Kawhi Leonard. Now, it's a very, very small sample size.
Right.
Do you know how much this guy makes? This is just to show you the income disparity in the NBA. And anybody who knows anything about math, he makes $77,500 a year.
Jeez. Gosh.
So you have a guy who's about twice as productive as Kyle Lowry, limited minutes, okay, but he's twice as effective, his PER, basically, than Kyle Lowry. He costs $77,000. Kyle Lowry, who's way less productive efficiency-wise, costs $31 million. So you don't think that making these sorts of like egregious financial mathematical errors is going to affect the rest of your organization?
Yeah, it's tough for him to step out on a limb like that. That's the thing. It seems like coaches are always on the hot seat. And it kind of feeds into itself, that whole thing where people want to play and sign superstars. You want to put them on the court, too. It's a sunk cost.
But that's not true. Like, it's not what San Antonio did. That's not what San Antonio's always won. How does San Antonio always win? Because they have a system, and they slot people into the system, not the other way around. That's how the New England Patriots win all the time.
Right.
They never overpay. And then they're like, oh, they happen to find this player who happened to be good. I was like, no.
So that's what they do.
No,
put them in
that's
there.
what they do. It's like they've got a system, and they're just plugging guys in. That's how you win. Look, part of the reason I know this, too, is that I'm a writer and a director in the film industry. And look, when I have a script that's good, any actor that can say those lines is going to be able to do the job. Because the system, which is my script, is doing the heavy lifting.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's
you
interesting.
Can put any actor in. It's not like, oh, only Johnny Depp can play this role. No, you can also put Brad Pitt. I could also put one of you guys in.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
I could be Brad Pitt.
Yeah, right?
Send me your best script.
So, Bobby, are you thinking about? Is there anywhere you're going to create, online an app or anything where people, essentially would be able to just type in a player and you would just pop out with their EcoStats? So dudes that were just really curious about what you got going on could type in their team. A dude like, I'm a big Portland guy. I could type in Myers Leonard, and I would know he's not being productive for his contract. Is that like in your future?
Yeah, I would like to do that. I mean, look, it's expensive. It's a physical analysis. What I'd like to actually be able to do is calculate the price of every single stat in every single sport from the beginning of time. And it wouldn't even be difficult to do. It's just, like, it's a lot of like data and whatever, data entry and stuff. But all you're doing is you're dividing salary, whatever these guys have made every year, by their stats. You're comparing them to the other people and the salary they make by their stats, and then just showing the difference. It's very easy. Like, I actually think there should be an EcoStat for every single stat in the world, because every single statistic that you're able to produce, in economics, there's a term called utility, which is the closest kind of idea. Utility is basically just like turning production and productivity into a number. And then you sort of calculate, okay, how much does it cost to create the utility and all this stuff, blah, 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 right? So all I'm doing is using that principle. It's just this idea that every statistic that's created by players since the beginning of time is utility. But it's different kinds of utility. So you compare utilities to utility, like things that are in the same, field, right? The same type of stat, because not all stats are created equal.
Yeah. But you get the value of all of them.
Yep.
It would be like, you know what it's like? It would be like if you and I both worked at McDonald's, okay? And we both are like, our job is to, like, I don't know, put the burgers in the microwave or whatever the hell they do.
Right.
But when you put the burger in the microwave, you get $10 an hour. And when I put the burger in the microwave, I get $35,000 an hour.
Right. And it costs the customer more money when they get your burgers.
Right. So the customer's got to pay $5,000 a burger.
Right.
But they're only paying you 10. I'm getting 35 grand. And we're doing the exact same thing. We're putting the burger in the microwave.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
and
And
Who
That's
would
an
run a
interesting
business
point.
that way? Who would run a business that way?
Yeah,
Well,
and
the
then the
answer
manager
is
would have to
every
put you out there all the
professional
time because you're the one that they're paying.
Right. But here's the thing, and this is also a mistake that people make. The fans aren't paying to see me put the burger in the microwave. They're paying for the burger.
Right, yeah. Yeah. That's why it's all about those
They wanna
stats in the
win.
end. Yeah, and the wins.
Yeah,
So
no,
this
that's
is it, right?
no, that's an interesting concept, Bobby. I think you should definitely keep running with this. I'm super intrigued. Obviously, we've been talking about salaries and things like that, so it's kind of cool to bring it in with stats because obviously we're just looking at salary caps, but you're breaking it down obviously way deeper economically and. It's been great talking with you, man. We got to just try to run on with our show here, so I hate to cut you off, but it's obviously great talking with you, man. We appreciate you calling in.
Man, some good insight.
This is insight
Yeah,
we've never heard before, with statistics. And maybe we can get in with the fantasy league with you. Me and Pete are super competitive. We talk like we're the best, and
I
we
don't
love
think you're
how
gonna dominate us.
we love how confident you are. So I think it would be fun because we're two very confident dudes, and maybe we can make that happen.
Anytime.
All right.
Transfer team tonight. I'll join tonight.
Oh, wow.
Oh man, let's get something set up, Bobby. We're definitely going to do that. We appreciate it, man, and hopefully you have a good night and good luck to Toronto the rest of the way.
All right, sounds good. Nice talking to you guys.
All
All right, thanks.